Your screen is playing hide and seek. Then Sagar Bus, you can start Bus.
I think. Good evening, all of you.
Yeah.
It's my great pleasure to welcome you all to this edition of Club Mail, meet number 083. Yeah, with the great support of every one of you, we are able to continue this Club Mail meetings even in these COVID times. I thank Lupin people for sponsoring, arranging such a nice meeting. I thank every one of you for your time and your presence. Yeah. So we started just like that in the January 2014. We all know about it and still going strong. This is the 83rd meeting we are doing. And from March itself, we are doing virtual meetings. And we are planning for our 7th anniversary celebrations in January 2021. Block the date is on January 26th, 24th, Sunday. We'll be having our Club annual conference. That also virtually only. Yeah. So the topic for today is COVID-19. How to manage this COVID pandemic, which hit the world like a big hurricane, still going strong. It took us all by surprise all these months. Initially, when people came with COVID, when it entered India in the last week of March and all, everybody was so much panicky, everybody was so much afraid of COVID. And when the only 1 or 2 cases were reported every day, there was no traffic on the road, no trains, no flights, nothing. But as the cases started increasing, we started getting back all those things. Even us doctors, we were so much afraid of getting exposed to the COVID patients initially. If you had spent at least 10 seconds with the COVID patient, you're afraid that you had caught COVID. You check your respiration, you check your pulse oximetry, so on and so forth, every time, and you get afraid and panicky. But now things have just like that become. And even the government policies are also changing day by day. They had advised as observation for everybody previously, but as time goes by, they told it's not necessary. They advise home quarantine. And we know that this is going to stay for a while, for a few years. It won't leave us in the near future. So it will be common practice for us to treat our COVID patients in the OPD. How to go about it? How to diagnose the patient with COVID in the OP? What are the basic investigations? How to treat them? When to refer them? How to follow up them? All these questions we need very clear directions. And Dr. Javed Abdullah is so much experienced in all these things. He's a young pulmonologist from Ramnath. He has did MBBS, MD, pulmonary medicine, and he's an FCCP. He's working as the assistant surgeon, specialty government hospital, headquarters hospital at Ramnath. He's a consultant at JJ Lungs Hospital in Ramnath. He has been awarded for best work, home-based pulmonary rehabilitation in COPD patients in rural India. He has got 2 international papers to his credit. His best publication in acute thrombus in your lung, the early tool, was his best publication. He's working on publication now to intubate in ICU and on post-COVID sequelae. So he's the right person now for us to talk on this scenario. We are all eagerly waiting for the talk. Sorry, we had some issues with the network. I think things have been started up now. Yes, now we'll go on to the mark. Once the talk is over, our Finance Secretary, Dr. Murli, will give the vote of thanks. And after the vote of thanks, we'll start answering all the questions. Yes, now over to Dr. Javed. I think we're audible. I can come to the screen now.
Javed, are we audible to you? Yeah.
Sir, can you hear me, sir? So
Hey,
sorry
yes,
because
yeah.
we have a lot of technical issues here, sir. The issue is that we are having a strong breeze here, sir, and
Okay.
that makes the issue here, sir. Sir, can you see, sir?
Hey, yes, now.
Sir, am I audible, sir?
Very nice, very much audible. Welcome, welcome. Yes, we'll
Yeah.
you start the show
So,
right away.
sir, I think we'll start, sir. All these hurdles inside. It's very because
I can hear the Nivar cyclone there in the place. Yes.
it's a hurdle. We also
Something. You
have
switch off your video. You can mute your video and talk only in the audio. You can mute your video and talk only in the audio and keep the slides.
treating COVID.
Sagar boss, let him not switch off because once we can see his face, we can come to know whether he is in the line or not.
But you can see hear his voice now. You can talk, but you can switch off the video. His video you can switch off itself. Like it gives some more power.
At the beginning, whatever you say.
There is a interruption in your audio boss.
Javed, you are not audible clearly. Yes. ஹலோ சார் அங்கே ஆக்சுவலாக உங்கள் சொல்லுங்க சார் பண்ணுறேங்க வெயிட் பண்ண உங்கள் ஆடியோ சரியாக கேட்க மாட்டேங்குது உங்கள் பேஸ் தெரியுது நீங்கள் யூ கேன் ஸ்விட்ச் ஆஃப் யுவர் வீடியோ அண்ட் கீப் டாக்கிங். வீடியோ குறைஞ்சா கொஞ்சம் உங்களுக்கு இது குறையும். ஆடியன்ஸ் ஸ்லைட்ஸ் ஆப்ரேட் பண்ணிக்க நீங்கள்.
மொபைல்ல கனெக்ட் ஆனா கொஞ்சம் ஈஸியா இருக்குமா பஸ் அவருக்கு? இப்படி பஸ்
சொல்லுங்க. இல்லை இல்லை ஒன்றும் கேட்கவே இல்லை. ஆடியோ வீடியோ ரெண்டுமே இல்லை. ஆக்சுவலாக ஒன்றும் கேட்கல.
பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காப்ல. அவர் என்ன பண்றாருன்னு எனக்கும் தெரியல. நேத்து பண்ண பிரசன்டேஷன்லாம் ஈஸியா இருந்தது. இது கொஞ்சம் டஃபா இருக்கு சார்.
ஓகே ஓகே.
இந்த ஒரு நிமிஷம் சார். இந்த பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காரு. அவர் ஏதோ எனி டெஸ்ட் போட்டு அவர் தான் ஏதோ ஆப்ரேட் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காரு சார். சாரி.
Now we're audible. Javed, hello. பஸ் கேக்குறாருல்ல முரளி அவர்
ஹலோ
he was audible no?
Yeah, he is audible.
வீடியோ அதான் இப்போ கேக்குறேன். ஹலோ ஜாவேத்
sir, can you hear me sir?
Yes sir, very much. Yeah.
Very much audible, Javed.
Please start.
Yeah sir, I think I'll start. Permission, I think you can hear me sir.
Yeah. Please continue, boss. Please continue.
Thank you so much sir. Again sorry for the inconvenience because we are still getting a breeze here and we can't get it off more quickly and whatever you are expecting sir. So much sorry because the topic is mainly managing COVID patients at your OPD. I have taken my Ramnath people. I have taken my Ramanathapuram as well for a great example for how we are managing because we are not developed as like you all. Maybe Dindikal might be developed much, but we are still lagging. No one is. It's a punishable place actually. the place where everyone would be punished here. All the government employees would be punished here, and they will be posted here in Ramanathapuram. That's what really happened.
Don't say like that. It's a beautiful state. It's a Punya Kshetram. It's a very holy place. Don't say
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
whatever wrong deed you have done, you have to come here and you have to put it here and you have to go back. That's a place where it's a best example for all Punya Kodis here. So with that, I'll start with that OPD practice, sir. So
Please.
guys, this is a time for us to get innate ourselves, because lot of studies is there and lot of practical knowledge which we are keeping, and I think this is the point where we have to get ourselves more engaged. We have to put our ideas on more on it, because we are really suffering a lot. The reason we are suffering, because point is that we have lost many. We have lost many. I think he's one of my relation, and behind that Bala Gurunathan said, because it's a PDF file, I couldn't put it. Another is the first neurosurgeon which we have lost. We have a lot of dispute during his death. During his funeral, we really faced a lot of issues that make us more anger. And this is the time. Not only that, and our children's really missing. Maybe grandsons or whatever who was there, they are still lagging. My problem even with my laptop, because my son is not allowing me to use my laptop. He wants to study through my laptop. So lot of things which we are going through. So a lot of points which we have to take in consideration to end this disease. So that's a point in adding. And really, I'm missing also all your get together, and I'm also missing Dindikal, because I will be there with you all today
Sure.
to have this topic. Now we are suffering a lot with this webinar issues, and a lot of connection issues is there still. So one of the main point, we have to make sure that we have to end this disease more quickly. So why me today? Because to my credit, I am the first person to post a post-COVID ILD. In July 17th, I have posted a post-COVID ILD in a patients which I have found it so far. And it doesn't end. On July 18th, I came again in a national media that I have published a post-COVID ILD causing fibrosis as well. So that came through some net also. It came through, a lot of people have watched it, and they have called me about post-COVID, because only after my publication, after 10 days, it came in the Green Journal that ILD, COVID can also cause ILD, and also it can cause us a fibrosis. So my topic, I will be talking more on the basics, because not to complicate the disease, because understanding the disease is really very easy, but we have seen more through it, and what
Voice break ಆಗಿದೆ ಜಾವಿದ್.
Can you use the headphone?
what's about
Sagar boss, are you listening this audio? I am not listening.
ஜூம் போட கேட்குறோம். ஜூம் போட பார்க்குற மாதிரி இருக்கு.
ஆமா.
Javed, உங்க audio is not audible now. You are not audible, Javed.
We could see only the
Slides. இல்ல ஆடியோ இல்ல சார். ஒரு 3 ஸ்லைடு ஆடியோ இல்ல பாஸ். அப்துல் கலாம் முதல்ல ஆடியோ இல்ல.
சார் இது என்ன இஷ்யூனா சார் அவர்
இப்ப கேக்குது. இப்ப கேக்குது.
இப்ப கேக்குதா சார்? இப்ப கேக்குதா சார்? Fine, sir. So before you start a disease for a patient, just
you can go back to Abdul Kalam. You can go back to Abdul Kalam.
Sir, can you hear me, sir?
Very clear.
Sorry. So before you treat a disease of
Prakash, his voice is not audible. Any issue? Why? Okay.
Sir, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, yeah.
Sorry, sir. Sorry again, because I'm getting some issues here. Again, we have issues here. So again, we coming to the mild symptoms. So mild cases which I have seen so far is 200. This is the case which I have taken. So I have seen around 600 cases, but these are the patients which I have a complete workout on this patient. So this is the point, and this is the reason I'm taking this into consideration of 352 patients. So the parameter which I have used for this patient is SpO2, CT severity, respiratory rate, and temperature. Next slide, please.
State Prathamesh, yeah.
Yeah. So coming to the symptoms, the common symptoms which we face is the fever, but I have certain scenarios for the patients also. So fever, cough. Sir, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah. Very clear.
Yeah. So the common scenario which we are having is the fever, usually the high grade, and the cough, tiredness, and we at present having a lot of patients coming with shortness of breath rather than a fever, and still that's the most tiresome because we are treating them appropriately, and we are missing the diagnosis of COVID-19 in most of the patients, and we find it accidentally. So my point is only taking this scale. This is the chart which I use for most of my OPD practice, and we have 3 stages of the disease, but actually I have put it only 2 stages. Where I will put you the last stage which we have made it so far, and stage 1 is the viral response phase, where I use only lymphopenia as my predictor for marker. The patient will come with fever, diarrhea, or headache, whatever the symptoms, but I use only a lymphopenia for these patients to find out the patient is in a viral phase. And the secondary is the pulmonary phase. The most common presentation would be to our practice would be the cough, shortness of breath, and sometimes the patient might come with the hypoxia. And I use a chest X-ray for this patient. So with these 2 scales, I have to make the patients should be in this. Most of the patients sometimes they come with the post-inflammatory phase PD, and sometimes more C-reactive protein. And of course, with this, I use a scale of CT for diagnosing these patients. The 2 may just know the severity. The common symptoms, which the early symptoms, we can also say the anosmia. Anosmia is the common symptoms which we face, not due to the COVID-19 itself, because of AC2, which plays a more important role. And also we have TRPSS2 gene, which go and embedded inside our olfactory lobes, giving us a false perception of smell or even the absence of perception of smell. So to know the symptoms. But to my point, there are a lot of causes for causing this anosmia. So we have upper respiratory tract infections. We have a lot of drugs which can also cause anosmia, and sometimes bulimia nervosa, anorexia nervosa also is there to cause a lot of problem for us. Anosmia. So I have a male predominant for this anosmia. Followed, the patients might have fever and myalgia, and I think last month I had a doctor, young graduate. So this is the common symptom. Wait for your diagnosis, and you have to wait for at least 4 days to get the CT findings. So coming to the other symptoms of fever, usually the 5th day after, some patients will say they had some for gathering. We have a famous Arvadangalam here. After the Arvadangalam, most of the patients, they came with a high-grade fever, and all patients with the fever, they had a CT abnormality. Coming to shortness of breath and history of fever, before they have a median of 10 days. So the patient might have a median of 10 days. The average SpO2 which I have seen is around 93%, and CT abnormality, even patient might have a 20% of lung involvement, they will really have a shortness of breath. Just a mild involvement with the lung, they will go for a shortness of breath, and they really respond well with the steroids. So dry cough is mainly due to tracheitis, and this is the finding which we have found so far. At least for 30 days, just convince the patients. Dry cough will be there for the patient, and sometimes when they go for a fibrotic phase, they will be having for more than 3 to 4 months. And just it's a self-resolving. Just convince the patient, and whatever you can convince, you can give even oral demulcent to convince the patients. Just give them honey or whatever they're drinking, hot water. They just convince they will be okay. Not to get them panic, and not to get more tense with this dry cough. To my credit, this is the first patient, and I just not unknowingly, I have treated her. In February 2020, she came from Malaysia. She had a high-grade fever, and she also have a mild shortness of breath. Thinking just as acute bronchitis, and I have treated her, the patient. The beauty is that after treating her for 7 days, all our hospital staffs, including me, got a high-grade fever. So we are suspected ourselves we had got a COVID-19 from her. This is the first patient which February 2020 is the first case which are reported in Tamil Nadu. Maybe, I don't know, maybe some of might have diagnosis as early, but still for my point, this is the first case which I have seen, sir. So coming to the CT is more sensitivity, and this is the point which you can take into, because doing RT-PCR takes around to get a result for our hometown like us, for underdeveloped, we have take at least 2 to 3 days to get a RT-PCR positive or negative, whatever the result may be. But meanwhile, the patient might have go for deterioration. So just to make sure that to make an earlier and appropriate diagnosis, you can go for a CT because it's more sensitive, and you can really know that. Everyone knows it, but still I want to make a more point, because a lot of patients which become RT-PCR negative, they comes with the CT positive. So everyone knows that, but still just to add more credit to this CT, because with the CT I found it more useful, because not only finding an active disease, I also use as a chronic marker for COVID-19 for patients. Ground glass opacity, we know, just obscuring the small vessels, not fully obscuring, that we can found in consolidation, but this is the ground glass opacity. But remember, guys, because lot of cases which we can see a ground glass opacity, and to my point, everyone now they are more interested in the, I think we can report, everyone they mention about this CORAD scoring. CORAD scoring is just to my point, I don't believe in this CORAD scoring, but still it will helpful only through a clinical diagnosis. Just go directly through your radiologist report, but just know the lot of points which can cause us the ground glass opacity, like you can see in a normal inspiration film, you can rightly go on a ground glass opacity. Make sure the patient have a full inspiration film before you can report for it. And partial filling of air spaces, partial collapse of your alveoli, interstitial thickening, inflammation, edema, and fibrosis. I also have a lipidic proliferation. This is an interesting case which I want to share with you. Know the differential diagnosis of this ground glass opacity. Don't go don't believe your radiologist fully with that, because ground glass opacity is seen in more, and you must have a clear cut. Being a physician, you need to have a well marked differential diagnosis whenever you see a ground glass opacity in your CT. To my point, every physician should be a better radiologist, and every surgeon should be a better sonologist. So everyone must understand the patients with coming with the ground glass opacity. Don't go with your radiology. This is my end point. I also want to share you some of the ground glass opacity through my PowerPoint. And also remember CID. CID is the chronic interstitial disease, which we have a lot of endpoints with that. because most of the groundless opacity radiologists think the patient had COVID-19, but to my I don't really don't because whenever I found the nodules in the CT, just CID can be fully evaluated with the nodules. Whenever you see a nodules, whether a micro or a macro, or whether you find the reticular opacity, mainly with the subpleural, always think of CID. Chronic interstitial disease will be the most common, and also whenever the patient, the CID patient will always desaturate, and they will also have the COVID symptoms like a cough, shortness of breath, and hypoxia would be there. So always go through and have a appropriate history for those patients. One of my patients today, she came with cough of 6 months, and the CT was done outside. She was referred because of COVID-19. But when I went for a history, I found she had a scleroderma. She had a scleroderma. She had a UAP, usual interstitial immunities pattern, and radiology by mistakenly she has given us a patient as a COVID-19. She was put in a COVID-19 ward. I went inside and I took a CT of the patient and found she had a normal CID, and I just shifted her. She is not suffering from COVID-19. I shifted to a normal ward. She became already. She went back. So also know the rare causes of CID, but not point betel fumes, fumus, HSP, which I have seen her recently in a pregnant lady, and pulmonary cryptococcus infection, poisoning like subacute, paracute poisoning, even pulmonary contusion, not common, but not rare, but really a common finding which we can find in a ground glass opacity for the patient. So in other OPD, you must know these findings. You must know about this ground glass opacity in your mind before you treating the patients. So coming to the CT, whenever you see a COVID-19, this is the CT findings which you can find. What are the rules it follows? COVID-19 usually follows a gravity. This is a case of kyphoscoliosis, which a patient had a dependent COVID-19 features. She had a dependent. The patient had a dependent. COVID always goes through the gravity, and it goes more posteriorly. That is a main reason we ask the patients to put in a prone ventilation, because it goes more posterior, and whenever the patient lies on supine, the patient might have a severe desaturation. And to my point, I also found whenever the patient had a positive, the patient might have a very small ground glass opacity. And this is the point which you will might think, because a patient might have a huge ground glass opacity with the COVID-19, they won't become a RT-PCR negative. But this patient had a COVID RT-PCR positive mainly because the patient's having a communicating with the bronchus. The ground glass opacity, you can find it is communicating with the bronchus. That's why the patient had an early RT-PCR positive. So always confirm your diagnosis before seeing the patient. This is the other case, classical example. A lady, she came with me with the severe dyspnea, and she also had a severe ground glass opacity. The patient was suspected of COVID, and she was referred to me again. Now I took a CT of the patient, and I found a pericardial effusion for the patient. So you can find the pericardial effusion for the patient, and also I went for echo for the patient. We have our hospital superintendent who is a better echocardiologist here, and he did a 2D echo, and we found a mitral stenosis for the patient causing a causing a ground glass opacity, and the patient had she was put in a cardiology ward. She developed well with the diuretics. So other case, the classical example, the patient had a severe aspiration pneumonitis, and the patient is referred to me with the ground glass opacity of COVID-19. So I asked a history, and I did a CT for the patient, and this is the COVID-19. I also found CA esophagus for the patient, but the ground glass opacity due to her is due to lipidic proliferation of the CA esophagus. So just remember the diagnosis. Just go for the other diagnosis. Always don't go with COVID-19. And I took a mediastinal window for the patient, and I found she had a proximal esophagus CA lungs, causing a lipidic proliferation in the lung. So to everyone, this is the common which you have to see. But whenever you see a patient coming with a ground glass opacity, always see the word the radiologist is giving to you. Just found a right multifocal consolidation and ground glass, mainly in the right middle lobe. So this is a classical example which you can found. Whenever you see a right middle lobe which is involved with the ground glass opacity, always put in your mind the patient might be suffering from pulmonary edema. So cardiogenic pulmonary edema causing ground glass opacity. This is a classical example that I want to show you. This is ground glass opacity. You can find a parahilar area. Parahilar is more predominantly involved. So more predominantly involved in a parahilar area. The patient coming with the desaturation, and the patient is coming with the history of cardiac or cardiac. Yeah, cardiogenic pulmonary edema. Just whenever you do a CT for the patient, just see the cardiogenic pulmonary edema. You can find the vascular pedicle would be very dilated. You can find a parahilar opacity rather than going for a subpleural or apical or lower lobe involvement. It goes through parahilar because where your pulmonary artery will be very congested at this time, and you find a parahilar opacity. Increase heart size. This is a classical example. Just being a physician, just do a CT. Just look at the CT of the patient. You can find the increased cardiac size, and rarely you will get a curly lines, curly B lines, and also you can find a pleural fluid for those patients. But not what I thought of, because I think 2-3 months back I have seen one patient coming with the ECG normal with the cardiogenic with suspecting a case of cardiogenic pulmonary edema because of the parahilar opacity. You can find a ground glass opacity in the left parahilar area. So I put in my mind, okay, this is a patient with the cardiogenic pulmonary edema, but ECG came quite normal. But I really did a RT-PCR for the patient to make sure the patient might have a COVID, and the patient came with a COVID-19. So COVID-19 also can become with the parahilar ground glass opacity. So make sure that the patient ECG is normal or echo is normal, whatever you don't suspect of pulmonary edema for those type of patients. So other case or classical example, this is a patient came with 2 months of breathlessness and fever. 2 months of breathlessness and fever, and found a diffuse ground glass opacity. And this is a classical example of HIV positive with the pneumocystic RNA pneumonia. But not as usual. But this is another case came with the trauma. When I was doing my casualty duty, I had a patient coming with the history of trauma for 1 week back. We did a CT. The patient had a breathlessness. We did a CT, and as usual, the radiology gave a report of Corax 5. But this is not a Corax 5 because the patient had a history of trauma, the lung condition with the no rib fracture. So with the no rib fracture, the patient had a contusion, and we took a history of the patient, and he didn't suffer from COVID-19. And the Corax 5 was wrong in this patient because the ground glass opacity due to trauma. So to my point, the other point which I have learned so far, the severe form usually involves the posterior segments. So posterior segments of patients coming to you, always think the patient might be deteriorating, the patient might fall. So this is the reason I already told, we have to ask the patients to lie on more on prone position rather than lying them to in supine position. So other classical example of the patient is had a positive COVID-19. He's a CKD on hemodialysis. Sorry, this is a patient on CKD on hemodialysis. The patient died of COVID-19. Other is a severe form, usually involves the lower lobe, and this is the patient with the severe form died of COVID-19. So other patient with again a CKD on hemodialysis, and this is the classical example. The patient had a mild form of ground glass opacity, but we took a CT. We are treating with the remdesivir, whatever the antiviral is, whatever the option is there. We treated with the patient, but still the patient died of COVID-19, but not due to COVID-19. We found a subpleural nodules. That is a classical example of septic emboli. The patient had a wrong. I mean, the catheter is not up to the mark, and this patient might have survived. We have given a higher antibiotic for the patient. Really, we feel very sorry for him because we didn't have a higher antibiotic at our government headquarters hospital because we had a remdesivir, but we didn't have a higher antibiotic. We don't have much antibiotics to treat this patient. So when to hospitalize the patient, what, where, when, how, everything should be in your mind whenever you see a patient at your OPD. So before that, just think how many hospital beds you are having in your Ramnapuram. Maybe in Dindigul, how many beds you might having. So before treating the patient, just think. So Ramnad people scenario, maybe in Dindigul scenario also, because in our hometown, they won't accept you from the first till last. Whenever we come, the patient comes and the patient goes off, they won't accept you. They don't believe in your clinical diagnosis. They don't want your clinical diagnosis. They will consult at least 3 doctors before they're coming to you. And the same test, they will be coming with 3 or 4 different labs. The same test will be there and the same report be there, but still they will come with that. And to them, the CT and MRI is always true. And to them, biopsy is really a waste of time. And Madurai is our neighboring city where they will having a zero mortality. So Madurai is a place where found a zero mortality for them. So I thought of point, why to admit this patient because of this expenditure which they are going to face, and the suspect of re-exposure, and the high viral load will be there because the patient will be there in the hospital for a long time, and the manpower and care because most of the hospital staff, we are left the job and we are standing with the manpower, and we have to handle the attenders, and really very difficult for me to handle the attenders. Maybe JC Segar sir is well known to attend the attenders, but to my point, I'm really feeling very discomfortable whenever I see a COVID-19 patients attenders, because they'll be keeping on talking, and whenever they show the RT-PCR negative, they'll be still questioning me why the patient had a RT-PCR and you're still keeping in the COVID ward. So to end this point, I made this criteria. So this is the Boston clinical criteria for diagnosing and discharging the patient. I just took the point. I just took the main clinical criteria and I kept this for the discharging the or keep them to continue in the home quarantine. So what I did, I gave a pulse oximeter for the patient every day morning 10 and 6. They have to take a photo of their pulse oximeter after keeping for 1 minute. Every time they have to send me morning 10 and evening 6 is my time, which I ask the patients to send. Every day they have to send through. We have a different WhatsApp group which they have to send every day from 10 to 9. If they are deteriorating or their saturation is falling down, we'll give them a call and ask them to get admitted at home, admit our hospital. So like that, we also had one patient. He's a very VIP patient here. That's why luckily he's masked and he's a very VIP. He's a very important person in our hometown. So he's under home quarantine. His saturation was 93. Every day he did and also we had to go for a video consultation for him and the patient really did very well. So why to hospitalize the patient? We can remember this person, a famous person. I also like him very much. He got admitted early. You remember he gave a video that he's very sick. He's okay. He's normal, not sick. He's okay. He had a mild flu-like symptoms. So doctor advised him to stay at the hospital. Asked him to go to home, but still he refused and he got hospitalized. But remember, on 28th day, on 4th day he was in NAV, and 28th day he died. But same day, what happened to my patient? 4th day at home. So he was very sick, and I asked him to just go home and have treatment because they don't want to follow my rules. So they went home, and 4th day they sent me a picture that he's fine. So coming to that interesting case which I want to discuss you. This is the elderly COPD diabetic SHT. He was really afraid of hospitalized because one of his relation died of COVID-19. And just I didn't ask the patient to take a CT on 7th day, but really this patient himself went and he took a CT on the 7th day. See the dramatic improvement for the patient. Just 7th day of being in home quarantine with just regimen like favipiravir, which I have given, and also I have asked the patient to take insulin. Within the 7th day, they had a patient of very good improvement. This is a case which is really a classical, and I do really have a very interesting cases. But this patient I want to show you because with 7th day, the patient really eventually improved. I usually ask the patient to take a 30th day of CT, but this patient really eventually improved with 7th day of antiviral and whatever the drugs which we have followed so far. And other case of lower lobe unilateral, they really respond very well with the treatment. This is a case with the 10th day. We have taken CT for this patient on 10th day. The patient really improved with the, you can't find a ground glass opacity. See, the ground glass opacity have disappeared mostly just with 10th day of antiviral. So guys, to remember, this is not ending. We are not going to end because the stage is not going to end. We are also going to have a stage 3, what we call a fibrotic phase, which we might have a lot of cases, but don't be much happy because we have to save this mankind as early because we have to end this disease as early as we can. So this is the example of defaulted treatment. Sorry, I think video can't be played here because defaulted treatment. What I found, the patient was had on antiviral. The patient has same CT findings. After we take 1 month of CT, the same finding was seen from the beginning till the 30th. The patient had defaulted only. I think the patient taken for medicine for only for 4 days, but still the CT remained the same. The patient had no improvement with the CT findings. Sorry, couldn't play the video. So remember the complications which we are going to face. The pneumonia would be the common complications which COVID-19 patients we have to see. So always come, ask the patient to review with you. So every 1 month or 2nd month or 3rd month, ask the patient to come and review you every month. Just go for whenever the patient had a high-grade fever, just treat the complication. The patient might have sometimes a patient might also go for tuberculosis. So always think of this complication in your mind whenever you're treating. So whenever you need it, just go for sputum AFB or go for a sputum gram stain to know the patient might also have secondary infections. ARDS, which we are seeing 15%. ALA, most I have seen in alcoholic patients going for ALA, and I have seen only patients with myocarditis. I think 2 or 3 patients. I think if Lupin Vijayan is there, he might accept this because Lupin Vijayan went for he's one of the rep in Lupin. He went with myocarditis. At night, he called me around, I think 2 or 3. I don't remember. He called me, he gave me a call. So I went for a heart rate. My heart rate is 30. So he called me at night, 2 or 3. I just go to a medical shop or go to the hospital nearby. Just take on steroids. So he took a steroid with that. I think Dexa was given to him, and next morning he improved eventually. So cardiac injury, remember of myocarditis. Thromboembolic events, which we are treating them with the enoxaparin or fondaparinux, we have to avoid this. AKI, just to whatever the drug you are using, just give the AKI and don't over-treat them with the piperacillin tazobactam, because we are having one issues here. Our physician is treating with too much with piperacillin tazobactam, the patient ending with the AKI. So don't go for neurotoxic drugs. Be very careful of treating the patient. Neurological manifestation like impaired consciousness also, we have seen one patient with the CVA and cytokine, which we can see with the desaturation events eventually. So this is the case which I have also published, which I want to share you. This is the first case of post-COVID syndrome, and to my point, to maybe some might have reported, and people from Dindikal, I think JC Segar also, sir also would have seen a patient with post-COVID syndrome. And this is a case, the first case which I have reported in June. This is a patient with the diffuse crazy paving pattern, which we can see in a post-COVID ILD. And this is the post-COVID fibrosis. To credit, this is a patient with the showing interlobular septal thickening, and also you can find the vessels will be very dilated. So by dilated vessels, will also tells the patient already not having an early active COVID. The patient might go for a post-COVID. So endpoint for because asymptomatic do have a post-COVID scar. You can find a lot of patients, they will give a history of the COVID contact. They will be remains asymptomatic. Whenever you go for a CT for this patient, you really can find post-COVID SARS. We have a lot of cases which we are reporting so far, and though most of the study don't accept this, but we have a huge population of patients who is having A positive. They are prone for getting COVID, and to my point, we have seen a very less patient with the O positive with the less mortality. And really, talking the truth, I really disappointed of doing a blood routine for the patients, because whenever I do a patient's routine and I found elevated ferritin or C-reactive protein elevated or D-dimer elevated, they really remains calm and quiet. They won't go for any complications till the end of the disease. But when a patient's having a less C-reactive protein or D-dimer is less, ferritin is okay, normal, but the patients go for a complications and we have to intubate those patients. So D-dimer, I don't found much outcome for these patients, but really up to your point, you can go for it, you can treat the patient. I'm not supporting hospitalization for all the patients, because now I have stopped to hospitalize the patients, because most of them we are treating them in a OPD basis and they are really doing very good. But I don't want to against the government, because you can give to your hand, you can, if you want, you can go and admit the patients. Heart related, it really do related to some point, because the patient might have a normal saturation, but when their heart rate is increasing, their patients are prone for getting overlap complications for the disease. So just do your heart rate every time whenever you're seeing the patients. Just check the monitor heart rate. Whenever the heart rate is increasing, just think the patient might go for cardiac complications. Patient go for whatever the cardiac thromboembolic events will be there. So those patients, I do remember, I also give them antithrombotic measures to avoid them to go for complications. So the complications are not going to end. And really, I do accept this point, because treat the disease more aggressively at the early. Whenever you see a COVID-19 thing, don't wait for this RT-PCR to come to you. Just treat the patient. Just wait for your report. Just treat them abruptly. COVID-19 is not going to end. Whatever the vaccine is going to come, we are not going to end this disease. We might get a disease. Just understand the disease whenever you're treating the patients. So wait to intubate the patient. This is a point which we are making ourselves ready. We are making our PowerPoint ready for this. And I am also ready, keeping ready to publish, not to intubate the patient at your ICU. This is which we are going to manage with the patients, not to intubate them as early to avoid dreadful complications. We have a lot of case scenarios which are keeping at present. We are collecting the data. Soon we'll be seeing you with this data. And to everyone, just be careful, because I do want to put this point, because I forgot to wear my goggles. You can find I forgot to wear a goggles in a COVID-19 patient, which I have to put an ICD for a huge hemorrhagic effusion. I forgot to put an goggles. My staff nurse, hospital staff, she took a photo of me, and she, after my procedure, she gave me the picture. So guys, remember, vaccine may or may not, it will come. We have to overcome this disease. Remember this HIV and dengue days, which really do suffer. We have a lot of mortality at our Ramanathapuram government headquarters hospital with dengue. Every day, one patient will die of dengue when it was peaking at the shot. So remember, all will heal. So to this, I want to end you. I also miss you guys, because I am not there with you all. I am not with JC Sekhar sir, and I am not with Muralidharan sir, and whoever Jainal sir, Prakash sir, and CKP madam. I am also not with you. To share the points with you, to have a dinner with you, but really I do miss, sir. So thank you so much, sir, for listening, and I do want to end you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, this is an excellent presentation. I just loved every bit of it. there are some network issues, but you just compensated. You came like a torrent. அப்படியே புயல் வீசுற மாதிரி வந்து வீசி முடிச்சுட்டு கூட சொல்லி முடிச்சுட்டு போயிட்டீங்க. It was excellent. It was enjoyable. More so because it's not the book, but it's from your own experience. That only counts. So it was so nice. A great show, Dr. Javed. We enjoyed every bit of it. And a few questions I'll be asking on behalf of the audience. So we have planned for interact session, but in this webinar it may not be possible. So what are the questions the audience thinking of? I'll just ask you. Once you get the report of RTPS, or once the patient comes to dyspnea, 4 days, fever, you are sent for RT-PCR, CT is positive, say Corad 5 or 10%, 10/25 lung involvement. What is the next step? What will you do next?
So patients coming with the symptomatic, the patient Corax, I already told you, sir, not to believe in this Corax 5. Don't believe in the Corax 5. Ask the patient symptomatic, the patient's hypoxia. So what I do, I usually see the saturation of the patient. I do range the heart rate of the patient, and some point I do auscultate the patient. I ask the patients to go for, so I mean, I usually ask them to supine auscultation only. I usually do for this patient. And if I do find a diffuse cryptations for the lung, the whole lung is involved. Favipiravir is the drug of choice which I am following with the patients. So favipiravir is really doing a very good for the patients. So apart from that, I do add azithromycin for this patient, and I also add a mucolytic for this patients. So blood routine, I already told I'm not interested in doing a blood routine for this patient. True. So I do really ask them patients go home and ask them to show their saturation every day. Morning 10 and 6 is the time which I keep for the patients. Every day they have to take their saturation. They have to send me, and I monitor the patients. When they go for desaturation or when they have become very tachypneic or dyspneic, I ask them to come to my hometown, to my hospital, and then. So ivermectin, doxy also you can follow, but I also found a positive result with some patients where favipiravir is not doing better, and I have shifted them from doxy and ivermectin. They did really well. So I'm giving the choice to you, because you are more experienced than what I am. So it's up to your choice, sir.
Javed, for your clarity, I run just primary clinic hospital. Once I see patient, immediately I refer the patient. I see a lot of patients, but I refer them. I'm not a pulmonologist. I don't treat them in my hospital also. So my experience very limited as far as treating COVID patients are concerned. So
no, the thing is that the famous people like you have to start treating the patients, sir, because we have to end this disease as early. But that's what I also teach a lot of general care physicians and everyone to treat this disease, sir, not leave them, because we are really overburdened with the disease. And I'm really having a lot of patients so far. Just treat them with the whatever the drug regimen which are you having. You can go home, treat them with the favipiravir, ask them to get a home quarantine, because this patient will go roam. They will go roam. They will go and see all the doctors. They will go to GH. They will go to some other clinic there which we have referred the patient, and they will be keeping on transmitting the disease. So to my point, we treat the disease. I think I give to you, sir.
No,
so treat the disease.
That's exactly why we have asked you to give the talk, because we want to empower ourselves with treating these patients as OP. Many of my colleagues also, they
can treat the disease, sir.
Yeah, okay.
You can treat the disease, sir. You really can. Once you found it, the patients had a Corax 5 and they had a high grade fever, ask them to sit outside. Okay. Ask them to sit outside, sir. Ask them to sit outside. Give them the drug, or you can have a mic with you where you can even, if you want, you can even call them and say that you have to be in home, because a lot of young patients will be coming there with the COVID. This patient, they will really respond well with the antiviral. So you can treat those patients, sir, and you can ask them to be in home quarantine. That's very important, because we have to end this disease as early as possible, sir.
Yeah. And what's the role of Dexa or methylprednisolone in these patients initially?
I already told the patient going for a shortness of breath. So Dexa do have a role of with the, because we know the bread and butter is steroids for us. So Dexa is really having a better result for those patients. But we have oral Dexa also. But I don't prefer, because I in a study prefer more of prednisolone rather than using a dexamethasone. Okay. So prednisolone is really doing a great job, sir. So adding a 4 milligram itself is doing a great job for some of my patients. So I do have a clinical criteria and clinical studies of treating with the prednisolone rather than treating with the Dexa. And when your treatment is good, and why don't you follow? Why you want to follow the foreign literature, sir?
Okay,
Javed, one more interruption here. I could see many of my doctor friends who start giving prednisolone even for the 2 days fever without difficulty in breathing. Fever 2 days, they come to the OPD. What they do is the last 3-4 months, many of the doctors started giving azithromycin, ivermectin, and prednisolone for all the patients. Whenever the patient complains of 1 day fever, they start giving prednisolone. What is your opinion regarding the prednisolone, even with one or 2 days fever, without difficulty in breathing?
Sir, first to your question, it's not our mistake, sir. It's not our mistake. It's a government mistake because government wants to treat all the fever patient as a COVID-19 patient. So all the COVID-19 or a suspect, all the fever patient or a suspect of COVID-19. So first is they have been fully overwrapped with the COVID-19. But really I do accept, sir, because not to treat them, not to overuse with the steroids is unacceptable, sir. It's not acceptable. You can't over treat with steroids because unless otherwise you prove everything is a clinical based medicine, and we do have own knowledge of not to treat the over treat the patients with steroids, because I think tuberculosis patients, once you treat with steroids, they are prone for getting a secondary infection. They are prone for getting whatever the dreadful TB. And I think one of I do have one of my patients there. She was treated with the steroids and she was treated with the antibiotics, and without knowing the patient had a severe TB. She was treated with the pneumonia. She was treated with pneumonia, and she was treated with over steroids, and she ended up with the MDR TB now.
Oh.
She's ended up with the MDR TB, and she's really suffering. A young, I'm about to marry, and she's suffering.
Oh,
and coming to the point of doxy is the normal antibiotic which we do really use in our OPD practice. So only the country which use most abruptly use the antibiotics is our country. We use a lot of antibiotics for even a small, no, not even a fever, even simple URT, we treat them with the antibiotics. So adding a doxy at this point, I don't know, sir, to you, but it's acceptable for me. Acceptable for me, sir.
The Mankind has come out with a package. It comes
Yeah, sir.
It's unbelievable. I don't know how government
package with the vitamin C, doxy, and
zinc,
ivermectin.
This is absurd. I don't know how government allowed this.
Yeah, Javed.
Yes, sir.
Actually, some of the studies they show that the SPOT is more than 93%. You should not give steroids. Many doctors they follow these guidelines, but many doctors they start giving this one. Whether you will encourage giving the steroid when the saturation is 94, 95, 96, or giving steroids. Some doctors, some studies they say that over treating is good rather than under treating. What is your opinion?
Yes, sir. First point is treating with steroids, sir. We are not going to treat the COVID-19 alone. We are going to treat the post-COVID also.
Exactly.
So remember, sir. Yeah, we have to treat the not just don't treat COVID-19. Treat the post-COVID also. Post-COVID ILD, post-COVID fibrosis, and what I said, post-COVID, whatever the complications, post-COVID thromboembolic events, post-COVID obstructive airway disease, everything is going to be complicated for the patients. So treating them with the mild steroids at the early phase will benefit them from not going for a hypoxia.
Yeah.
So it will when you prove the diagnosis of COVID-19, you can prevent the patients to go for a hypoxia. So steroids will do a great job to prevent the hypoxia for those type of patients. So whenever you have a patient who is not desaturating, treat them with the mild steroids, not going to harm them, sir.
Yeah.
Fine.
Regarding this favipiravir, many say that it is not effective. What is your opinion?
Sir, I already told you because to some people's some people's doxy is not effective. You find because when a ceftriaxone is doing, the simple thing which I want to tell you, sir, the patient comes with 1 day fever, and you have a practice of giving a ceftriaxone for these patients, and they will really eventually better. They will get better. But some hospital they go for a higher antibiotic. The first day fever they give a meropenem for the patients.
Yeah.
So that's what happening. So you have your own individuality of practice, and you have your own model of practice, and you have your own knowledge of treating and getting success for the patients. So when favipiravir is doing better for me, why I have to go for some other like a remdesivir or now that recent drug of beclidine is going to come. So why I have to go for other drugs? I don't want to believe in the other literatures because it's your own choice and you can treat the disease successfully, sir. So favipiravir is really doing good job. And I already told you I have so far, not to be proud of myself, I have seen more than 600 patients and not lying to you, I have a success of 500 patients. 500 patients who have came out well with the favipiravir, sir.
Wonderful.
Great number. It's a great
Nice
number.
of it. Nice of it.
No, this is not boasting. Your total experience. We are happy to have you with us. Absolutely. This please do come out with your facts. And once the patient gets cured of COVID, do you put him on routine anticoagulants also for a period to come?
Other sir. Yeah, that's why sir, I told you, sir. Now I am not only using anticoagulants and also using antithrombotic post patients also, sir. Because I do had one patient with a severe. I think I had a one of the doctors father actually. He had a mitral valve replacement, and the other I think his father went for a mitral valve replacement. His father was a post CABG status patient. So this patient came with me. They are already on antiplatelets. So what I did, second day, third day, their heart rate started slowly increasing. They went around 130, 140. So that was really worrisome for me. What I did, I do really added antithrombotic for these patients. So the next day, because thinking of the patient might have a microembolic events, so I treated them with the antithrombotic. They really did very well, sir. Actually, not believing, I think I have started with them with the dabigatran. Dabigatran is a drug which is very cheap because I don't believe in the rivaroxaban. It's very costly. So I started them with the dabigatran. They really did very well, sir. Actually, so adding antiplatelet is not enough. You just monitor the patient and add an antithrombotic as well, sir.
Thrombotic, fine.
Yes, Javed. One patient treated in Madurai for 10 days admission, and they came out. After 1 month, the patient came with some difficulty in breathing, 70 years old, diabetic and hypertensive. So I did D-dimer also for that patient. It was showing more than 2000. So we started a dabigatran for that patient. After 15 days, the patient showed a dramatic improvement. It came down to 500. What is your opinion doing this D-dimer in this type of patients?
Sir, D-dimer have a half-life is very elevated. Actually, the D-dimer would be elevated for till the course of the disease. Actually, the post-COVID also can cause a D-dimer elevation. D-dimer, most of the literature, I think only we are the country which are believing more on D-dimer. We are not doing for CT pulmonary angio. We are believing on this biological report. So maybe D-dimer might be elevated. The patient might also have a microvascular thrombi, what I mentioned early. But still, we don't have a proof. But better that you.
Audio is off.
Added antithrombotic measures for these patients because it's very good. The patient is lucky that the patient have. Sir, can you hear me, sir?
Yes. Now it's okay. Yes. Now not audible.
No, not audible, Javed.
Bhaiya, help me.
Yeah. Now we're audible.
Sir, நீங்க add பண்ணது correct தான் sir actually. So whatever you added is good for the patient because patient's lucky because patient's already immobilized and the patient's also desaturating. The patient might have a post-COVID also. The patient might also have post-COVID ILD. So whatever the drug you have added is correct, sir. The D-dimer with D-dimer and you have added because it's not going to harm the patient. Just giving rivaroxaban or the antithrombotic measures which you have given is going to help the patient, sir. So it's still and fine, sir. That's actually taken point. I think I also have tried in this some of my patients who is coming with the bedridden states and they are really doing good, sir.
Thank you, Javed. Thank you.
And for those patients who have a lot of CT lung involvement, do you routinely add antifibrinogens for them?
No, sir. I really don't accept the point because. So I really don't accept this point because just remember this pirfenidone or nintedanib, it is an antifibrotic drug.
Yes.
It is just an antifibrotic drug because the COVID already caused an huge damage for them patients. already it's just a viral, which is not, it is not an immunogenic mechanism or whatever the mechanism which we are having with the ILD. It's not idiopathic or whatever is there. We have a clear-cut idea the patient's having and history of one viral which is causing them an ILD like pattern or fibrosis like pattern. Adding another drug like pirfenidone, I don't accept. Not much studies really supporting. Not much studies really supporting adding antifibrotic for the patients who went for post-COVID.
A patient recovered from the COVID. Some doctors, they advise them to go for CT thorax, CT chest every month. Some they say after 3 months. Some they say there's no use of repeating the CT after 15 days or after 30 days. What is your opinion?
I do have one of my webinar with the Mumbai people, sir. Last, I think 2-3 months back, we had a webinar with Mumbai people. So just follow these patients with the whoever comes with the post-COVID, just follow this patient with the CT and the pulmonary function test every month. Though it's helpful for us, but I really don't accept this point, sir, because see, we might get a lung cut, whatever the cuts, because being a humanity, we do not to burden these patients. Whenever they have symptoms, just go do your test routinely. That would be helpful for them. But just doing an every month CT, or because COVID is just, it's a viral. It's not a complicated disease. And just to add point, I want to add, because I have seen one of my physician in Chennai, not to mention the name. Every month the patients go with the patient had a ILD, interstitial lung disease, and the UAP, usual interstitial pneumonitis. Every month the patient go, that the physician will take X-ray for the patient. So what is the point of taking X-ray every month? Just when you're treating with the antifibrotic drug and whatever the inhaled steroids you're giving the patient, but he does every day. The patient came with around, I think, 60-70 X-rays, because the patient had a ILD for long. The patient had a huge X-ray, this much X-ray is the patient, and moreover, the patient is from a famous hospital. So just why you have to make a burden for this patient? When you suspect secondary infection, when you suspect something more than that, you can go do a CT for the patient. That would be helpful for them, not to no, just every patient is our relative, sir. Every patient is our life. So we have to save them, sir.
You should be thankful it is not for a CT every month. At least he stopped the X-ray every month.
Yeah, sir, yeah. But sometimes I do follow, sir, because whenever I suspect a post-COVID, whenever I suspect a post-COVID ILD, I ask them to do a CT once, not every month. Only once they have to do a CT. And I think I do repeat them after, if I want. I have not seen a patient after 6 months, but really I am planning to do them after 6 months, sir.
Javed, we got a question from Dr. Afrin. What about LMWH empirically for moderate to severe disease?
Yeah, it is actually accepted, but the moderate I don't accept, sir. Moderate is where your saturation is 93, and I don't accept a low molecular weight heparin for this patient, sir. But severe you can really give, sir. You can really give. But I already told giving an antithrombotic the patient, antithrombotic like heparin is very wonderful drug. We are giving 5,000 interaction units OD for every patient who is having a severe COVID. So it's really workable, and it's workable, sir. I have very positive result with the heparin alone, and you can go for it, sir.
Okay. Bas, any more questions?
He has covered everything. Really wonderful, Javed. You have all brought out all the practical points. But some doctors, you are absolutely correct. Some doctors, what they say is, even you have a problem after 1 month or 2 months, but taking the CT is ideal only after 3 months. Then only you can see the fibrosis and everything very clearly. Doing CT routinely every month or every 15 days is not acceptable. You are absolutely correct. Some doctors, some of the guidelines, they say that instead of doing CT thorax or CT chest, etc., and this D-dimer and ferritin, all these things collectively together gives a prognostic index. This is the way some of us are following. Really, if there is no more questions, I am very happy to propose what of thanks. Really, you have made this evening a memorable one and a fruitful one.
Yes, sure.
Really great. In spite of all these connectivity problems because of the Nivar cyclone, everything, the background views, everything, breeze, etc. You have made it very clear, and your voice is very, very much audible. and you are very clear in your views, crystal clear thoughts, really wonderful. We'll be very happy to have you with us in one of the meetings in the live presentation after this COVID is over.
Great.
We thank Lupin people for having made these wonderful arrangements. And at the end of the day, the heroes are the audience.
Audience.
In spite of all these problems, அவங்க இவ்வளவு நேரம் பொறுமையா இருந்து எல்லாம் கம்ப்ளீட்டா பார்த்தாங்க, லிசன் பண்ணாங்க. So your talk is very much useful to many of us. Really, I am thankful to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And
Thank you,
shield,
sir.
I think after any ending, you can send the shield to me.
Sure. We'll get it.
Don't worry.
I'll send you, sir.
Don't worry.
You will
I
get it
asked
definitely,
my friend Chinnadurai Abdullah and Sambar Sadiq Ramnath to hand over the shield to you. Don't worry.
Kandipa sir, romba thanks sir. Thank you so much sir. Thank you JC Sekhar sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir. Thank you
Excellent.
Lupin teams and Bhaiya also. Bhaiya, thank you so much. Help me to everything inside the webcast. Thank you so much sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Had a
you,
great
thank
time.
you.
We'll call you back as Murli.
Sure sir. Thank you sir. Thank you sir. Bye, sir.
Good night. Good night. Thank you, Bas. Thank you, sir. Bas.
Thank you.
Good night. Good night.
So now, Dr. JC Sekhar, are we done?